Have to consider all the players in the film. We don't know in that case the role of the mother. We don't know the role of the uncle. Anyone who played a significant role in the family, we would like to see how they contributed to that. You see, if he was wearing diapers, humiliated in that way, and the mother came in and let him know, let the son know, that she thought what he was doing was right, even though he's being humiliated, the humiliation is not going to have any effect. So you have to find out.
He just didn't want to be a fighter.
Yes, I understand that.
He just didn't want to be a fighter.
Yes, wouldn't it be interesting also, since he just didn't want to be a fighter, if that view also came from his mother or some other relative? That you don't have to be, and if it's told to him in such genuine terms, then he won't have to be a fighter, and he'll put up with any kind of humiliation.
Well, he was pointing out in the article that his father pushing him and his two brothers and with Jerry Quarry kept on fighting, although it was apparent damage was being done, but...
Yes. See, the thing that you and I would like to know is, how did that other son, the older son, how did he maintain a relationship with that whole family during all of these years? What role did he play? See, what role did he play? Pardon me?
He takes care of his brother.
No, I mean before. Before. Yeah, see, he had to have been with the family as a rebel and allowed and tolerated for all of that length of time. And we'd have to know why and how. And it would be the unfoldment of that story would be very important.
The article said that he doesn't speak to his father.
That's great.
Because his father won't admit what he had.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So he never spoke to him. He had some other way of relating emotionally, and I'll be risking an opinion and saying it had to be someone else.
Sure. The mother can be pretty strong too.
Oh.
Well, I still must say that I respect the older brother, that he took charge of Jerry and is basically taking care of him,
but
shaving him, and dressing him, and feeding him. It was really sad.
It would be interesting to me as someone who's involved in these kinds of I don't like calling them cases, but I would like to know whether or not the mother took care of that older son in all the ways in which later the older son is taking care of the younger son.
What she's telling us is that the older son took on the nurturing role, the mothering role for the younger boy.
Yes.
So he must have been very much influenced by the mother. He wouldn't have taken on that role.
Or someone in the family encouraged him. You know, it looks like the mother, doesn't it? Yeah. And it would be worthwhile finding out.
Yeah.
I've always been told, like in third world countries, how come they have so many children? It's a form of Social Security that you figure with 10 children, there at least is going to be one child that is going to feel the responsibility that they have to take care of the parents.
Yes.
And so there's a better chance of that. And it does appear with families, I know there are children who do take on that responsibility with their parents, and there are children who just don't.
Yeah. See, this is not a way of trying to account for human beings' behavior. It's a way of trying to account for a specific kind of behavior that causes difficulties for people. The point that you're raising is, how do you account for someone who turns out to have such high humanitarian ideals? This isn't going to tell you, because they had to get through something to be that ideal. And that would be worth discovering. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
If you still have two days times, it's in the
I will make sure.
sports page. It's part of a lengthy article, by the way, that most of the prize fighters who seem to die in the ring seem to be managed by their father.
Yes, recently, just to help you with that, there was a story within just a couple of months, now that I recollect it, of mothers who have that same kind of dedication or enforcing or coercion for their daughters to become ice skaters, figure skaters. And if you've ever gone to an ice skating rink, you can see the mothers lined up. And you can see how they give their love and affection and attention only when the child does it well. And when they don't, they ignore them. If the child is making the connection, and that's when my mother loves me and shows me respect, they're going to play it out that way. But they're going to get a crisis because sooner or later they have to do it for themselves. And that's one of the explanations of burnout.
Gypsy Rose Lee, and had a whole story about her and her mother. Her mother's a dominating force in her life. Her mother more or less pushed her into
Yeah, see, what's interesting about this is that these are situations where the child is not pushed into anything. See, it's a very subtle process, and that's what makes it interesting. Because we can understand coercion, but we always know that only reaches a certain point, and there's often a rebellion.
In fact, this would be considered family values, which is preached by our government.
That's right. This is family values.
They'd love to see this kind of scenario going down in most families on the surface.
On the surface,
it appears
you could film this, you could film all of these scenes. This scene that we mentioned before with the girl, your scene, it looks like an ideal family. Father doing the dishes with the son, fine. Yeah. Mother and daughter watching a movie flick, eating popcorn, whatever it is they might. Yeah. But we're saying, watch how the introduction of basic beliefs about oneself and the nature of reality are brought in, and watch the effect it has. Because we were going somewhere before, we were saying, you see, by making this interesting statement, which is very famous, under similar circumstances, we can expect similar results. Therefore, when it's that point, let us say now, where you have to decide that you're interested in trying to achieve something, and you have this teaching, as you get close to that open state that was similar to the moment of that transmission, when you get in a state where you're similar to that open state, then that teaching is going to emerge, and you're not going to be allowed to go any further unless you find some way of dropping it.
Yeah.
And that's what, see, what's great about all meditation and all spiritual exercises, that it builds up jiriki, it builds up the power of concentration. It builds up, it fortifies you to make the jump. And that's its great value. And that's why it's so significant.
Yeah. Later on, I was studying voice, and I was going up for consideration for getting a scholarship. Mm-hmm. I went down, I forgot the words, so I made it. So I goofed it up. So I fulfilled that.
Yeah, it's because at that moment, to have been successful at that moment meant you had to confront that teaching.
Yeah.
And you have to confront that teaching to succeed on some higher level. The higher the level, the more you have to face it. Which is why very often in the religious tradition, people who do achieve very profound states of mind, if they don't integrate what it is, they fall. They have all kinds of crises, and they get in all kinds of problems, not because they haven't achieved great spiritual heights, but they haven't integrated what it is.